So this conversation's been dead here in the States for a while about loot boxes and whether or not they're gambling, but recently with Norway declaring loot boxes gambling if the contents can be traded for real world money, and Belgium just declaring them to be outright gambling, I wanted to bring it back up again because it's probably going to shift back here to the States, especially with some politicians looking for re-election, yada yada, and explain why I believe loot boxes are gambling. Now, I have purchased loot boxes in the past. It does have that allure, but that goes in allure, not lore, allure of gambling. I went to a casino, pulled the lever. It's the same thing. It's all designed to be like pulling a slot machine. But here's where they differ. One, in gambling, it's regulated to where you have to tell what the odds are of winning, and you have a chance to get your money back. In loot boxes, let's say I buy a cosmetic loot box in Overwatch and all of these items come out, I have a chance that all 4 or 5 items, whatever it is, will land and they will all be duplicates, which means that they are less than worthless to me. On top of that, the items on the disc, the thing is that you're not paying to download the items. You're paying to unlock content on a disc or on your hard drive that you already have downloaded, that you already have access to. It's just locked behind this randomized paywall. And another thing that I bought this a couple weeks ago because I wanted to make a higher quality video, but I'm just making the video now, is that a lot of people compare it to Magic the Gathering and say, well, if you call that loot box is gambling, Magic the Gathering is gambling. I'll show you exactly why Magic the Gathering is not gambling, even though it uses the same sort of randomized pack. When you open one of these, it's completely randomized. You do not know what you're getting in there, whether or not you're going to get something that's valuable and rare, or whether or not you're going to get something that's not worth a whole lot. The difference here is that these are physical. When you play the game of Magic the Gathering, you could have up to 4 duplicates that you could use in your deck. Each one of these contains at least 2 uncommon, 1 rare, and there's a 1 in 8 chance that you will get a mythic rare. All that means is that you know exactly what's going to be in here, and you have the ability to go buy these cards physically any other way. There is an option, whether it's third party or not, to go and purchase the cards that you want so that you don't have to deal with this. Some people find this extremely fun. I used to play this very heavily. I got out of it years ago, but I'll show you the difference here, because not only are these physical, they can be traded back to a store if you get something that's rare for money. And it's not gambling in the same sense because you always have something of value in hand. You're trading $4 for 15 cards. You know you will get 15 cards. You may not know what the cards will be, but you will know that you have 15 cards, at least 2 uncommon and 1 rare in this pack, and possibly a mythic rare. And sometimes you get even better odds. Now, the difference between this and gambling is that you always get something physical in return. It doesn't matter if they're not technically worth anything, because this has no intrinsic value. You know you're throwing your money down the drain. It has no intrinsic value. It is only worth what people are willing to pay. It is not gold, it is not platinum, it is not titanium, it is not any kind of precious metal. It has no intrinsic value. It is not a rare piece of art. You know that you're going to get 15 pieces of cardboard no matter what, and that someone might be willing to pay you $300-400 if you get a super rare one or something like that. You know what you're getting and what you're getting into. In loot boxes, you know that you're going to get a cosmetic item in return, but not only can you get duplicates, the grind rate, meaning that if I get a duplicate item, I could get 5 extra coins, which then eventually when I get 3,000, I can buy a skin of my choice. So a very, very, very low amount means that the item that I got is worth less than a penny. Each one of these is worth at least 1 penny. So you know that you're at least going to have 15 cents worth of items in here. I'll open it up and show the difference. Maybe. So open it up, there's 15 cards in here. Let's see if I can do this. 1 common, 2 common, 3 common, 4 common, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The 11th card is a uncommon, an uncommon, 1 more uncommon, a rare, a land, and then just a special card at the end. So all of these are just randomized cards. So just much like a loot box, they're all random. This is what you know that you're going to buy when you buy one of these. You look at this and you have no idea what's on the other side of this. I do, but that's because I opened it. You have no idea what's on the other side of this. You don't know if it's worth the money that you spent. But in turn, when you spend $4 on this item, you know that you're going to get 15 cards. You may not use them. Some of them may be worthless. But you're getting a physical item in return. An item that can be used, can be traded to somebody, but has no intrinsic value. These are toys. These are part of a card game. No matter what what people want to claim, they may have a deck that costs them $3,000 to build, but it's not worth that. It may be worth that to some person, just like a collectible item such as Elvis Presley's original jacket might be worth something to somebody, but it doesn't necessarily have intrinsic value. Everything in a loot box does not have intrinsic value. It has no physical value. On top of that, the item that you are getting as a cosmetic item, you already have access to. It's just locked behind a piece of code that when you open it up and it goes, oh, here's that rare thing you were looking for, you can now use it. So you've already paid physical money for it. So let's say it's Overwatch. You paid $60 for the game, or $30 or whatever it's on sale for now. The item then is, let's say they add new skins to the game. They give you a download for free. Items are locked behind bits of code that until you open up one of their loot boxes and it says, oh, you can now use that, the item that you paid for and the free download update don't work in tandem to allow you to use what you technically have already paid for. Now, granted, they're giving you a free update and they can do what they want with their game. But what I'm getting at is that Magic the Gathering is what they're most commonly referred to as the closest example of gambling or loot boxes. But it's not gambling. Yes, you are gambling on whether or not you're going to get a super rare card. I got this card right here, which can't get it in focus right now, but it's a rare card. If it was mythic, it would have a red symbol on it. I have a 1 in 8 chance to get a mythic card in these. I know that. I know what is there. None of the loot boxes tell you what the drop rate is for super rare skins. Almost none of them. Blizzard went out of their way in China to not list their drop rates, and yes, there are certain games where you have to grind, such as Monster Hunter World, where you have to grind for certain items to be able to build other things, but it's all in there in game. You can earn it. You can spend the time to do it. Loot boxes aren't a way to give a player choice as to different time. It's a way to suck money out of them so that they can pay for the convenience of not having to grind. And on top of that, being able to get duplicates of an item doesn't help anybody. In Monster Hunter World, a duplicate item means that you could build a weapon twice or build a different kind of weapon or whatever. There is intrinsic value to having, or there is a personal value to having extras of an item. It can be sold for in-game currency. It has no loot boxes. It's all an in-game economy. But developers are using cosmetic loot boxes to rake cash in from the consumer and then claiming, oh, it's not gambling. It is gambling. You open up a box, it's like pulling the lever. Everything flies up in the air and then lands. And then, oh, you scan your eyes across it. Hopefully I got 777. Just the exact same way as pulling a lever on a machine, a slot machine, and hoping that the sevens come across. There's lights, there's sounds. Everything is psychologically built to do that. Now, I'm not a psychiatrist, so I can't say whether it's here or there, how that all breaks down. But in the end, Magic the Gathering is completely different from how that is, because I have a physical item in my hand that I can trade for at least a penny a piece. And I know what my odds are of getting different items. On top of that, I know that I have a physical thing in hand. But when you're gambling for intangible items, it's like throwing your money into a slot machine and possibly never hitting the jackpot, but you already hit the jackpot earlier, so we're going to go ahead and say that you can't earn any more money. Same idea. That's my rant.